Apple's WWDC keynote lands tonight, and Siri 2.0 is reportedly running on Google's brain, not Apple's. Plus 4 more stories driving the AI tape. Let's get into it. Apple's WWDC 2026 keynote begins at 10 a.m. Pacific tonight, and the bombshell is that Siri 2.0 reportedly runs on a custom 1.2 trillion parameter Google Gemini variant. Inside private cloud compute, a $1 billion a year licensing deal. 6 operating systems ship in beta, iOS 27 through visionOS 27, alongside the first standalone Siri app, with personal context and on-screen awareness. This closes Apple's frontier AI credibility gap, but on rented intelligence. Apple now pays Google $1 billion a year to be Siri's voice, the same Google that pays Apple $20 billion a year to be Safari's default search. The bear case: Apple ceded the most important consumer interface in computing to a competitor. If Gemini ships poorly, AAPL wears the bug. Watch the keynote for an extensions framework that lets users swap Apple Intelligence for Claude or Gemini at the OS level. If confirmed, that's a long-term demotion of Apple's own model stack. On Friday, President Trump told reporters the U.S. government may take direct equity stakes in OpenAI, Anthropic, and xAI, 3 private companies worth a combined $2.3 trillion. The comments follow a June 2nd executive order requiring Frontier Labs to share unreleased models with Washington 30 days before public release. This is the most aggressive U.S. industrial policy move in tech since the chip export controls, and it lands the same week Anthropic's S1 went confidential and OpenAI signaled its own IPO window. The bear case: a federal cap table seat creates a soft nationalization overhang on private valuations. Existing investors face dilution or governance constraints right as those names approach the public markets. Watch for any mechanism disclosure. Golden share governance, and the secondaries hold. Actual equity at strike, and the OpenAI and Anthropic pre-IPO marks reprice lower in the next funding round. SpaceX opens its investor roadshow this week with 556.6 million shares at a fixed price of $135, skipping the traditional price range convention entirely. The implied market cap is 1.77 trillion SOS above Tesla, and the $75 billion raise would be the largest IPO in U.S. history. Pricing lands Thursday, June 11th, with SPCX trading on NASDAQ from Friday. Skipping price discovery is a mega-cap move, Apple style, not first-time issuer style, and it tells you everything about demand. SpaceX joins Micron and the $1 trillion club as another structural anchor in the AI and space infrastructure trade. The bear case: pricing the next decade of Starship execution as a given leaves no cushion. Any Starlink ARPU miss or Starship setback hits with a 2025 NVIDIA multiple on a 2030 cash flow profile. Watch June 11. Pricing: above 135, and the IPO trade carries the quarter. Below, momentum cracks. Micron crossed the $1 trillion market cap last week, the first memory maker ever. It doubled from $500 billion in under 50 trading days, materially faster than NVIDIA's 500-day arc to the same milestone. SanDisk has run 600% year-to-date on the same supply shortage thesis, and TrendForce just revised 2026 hyperscaler capex to $830 billion. The memory complex is being repriced from cyclical commodity into structural growth, the same regime shift that made NVIDIA uncyclical back in 2023. Investors now have to size the AI infrastructure trade beyond just NVIDIA, Broadcom, and AMD. The bear case: trillion-dollar memory has happened exactly once in cycle history, at the top, and Samsung's 2-nanometer base die on HBM5 is a supply shock waiting to land in 2027. Watch SK HYNIX and Samsung HBM5 sampling cadence closely. Any pull-in compresses Micron's premium fast. SK HYNIX joined Samsung across the $1 trillion line this week, becoming the second Korean memory maker to do so. At Computex, SK Group Chairman Chae Tae-won committed to doubling production capacity over the next 5 years and called the memory bottleneck, quote, persistent through 2030. Samsung unveiled an HBM5 mock-up with a 2-nanometer base die, and NH Investment raised price targets on both Korean names today. This connects directly back to Micron. Korean producers are treating the HBM supercycle as a 5-year build-out, not a 2026 spike. If Chae is right about 2030, Micron's re-rating isn't priced wrong. It's just early. The bear case. Doubling capacity over 5 years is the textbook setup for a 2029-2030 supply glut. Every memory cycle in history has ended this exact way. Watch HBM5 first shipment timing. Whoever delivers to NVIDIA Rubin first owns the premium. That's today's tape. Memory just got repriced as the new structural growth bucket. Washington wants equity in your favorite AI lab. And Apple's brain may be rented from Google starting tonight. If this sharpened your read on the market, hit subscribe. That's how the Daily Alpha finds the next investor. We'll see you tomorrow.